Welcome to a fascinating deep dive into one of the most remarkable stories in modern coin collecting history, where a small and seemingly ordinary piece of copper-plated zinc has stunned the numismatic world by reaching an astonishing value of $6 million, a 1992 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin whose immense worth is not due to precious metal content or elaborate design but because of its incredibly rare and highly sought-after errors and mistakes that make it a true treasure for collectors and investors alike. And today we will explore in extraordinary detail every single aspect of this coin, from the history of the Lincoln cent series and the minting processes of the early 1990s to the precise errors that make the 1992 D variety so valuable, the various theories on how such an anomaly occurred, the role of condition, grading, rarity, and provenance in boosting its market price, and even the potential scenarios under which more such coins might exist. So buckle up as we take a numismatic journey that blends history, economics, craftsmanship, and the thrill of treasure hunting, because to understand why the 1992 D 1 cent can command $6 million, we must first revisit the Lincoln cent's long history, which began in 1909 to honor the centennial of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, with Victor David Brenner's famous portrait on the obverse and the wheat ears reverse that lasted until 1958 before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, which remained until 2008. And by the time 1992 came around, the United States Mint had been producing the Lincoln Memorial reverse for decades, but changes were brewing as the Mint prepared for the Lincoln bicentennial redesign that would eventually appear in 2009, and in 1992 a subtle but extremely important modification was being readied for the reverse design known as the close AM variety, where the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse was tightened, making them nearly touch. Replacing the standard wide AM spacing used in business strikes of that year, the close AM design was intended for proof coins minted in San Francisco, but somehow, through what is widely believed to be a minting error or a die mix-up, some Denver Mint business strike cents from 1992 were struck with the proof-style close AM reverse, and it is these coins, specifically the 1992 D close AM cents, that have become legendary in numismatic circles because they are so rare that only a tiny handful have been confirmed to exist, and each discovery sends shockwaves through the collecting community. Now the value of $6 million is tied to the extreme rarity, the impeccable condition of a top-graded example, and the intense competition among elite collectors who want to own one of the rarest modern Lincoln cent varieties. And when we talk about mint errors like this, it's essential to understand how such mistakes happen. The US Mint uses multiple sets of dies to strike billions of coins, and dies are engraved with specific designs for different purposes. For example, proof dies have sharper details, higher quality preparation, and in this case, the altered spacing of the AM, while business strike dies have the standard spacing. During die setup or replacement, a proof reverse die might have been accidentally paired with a business strike obverse die at the Denver Mint, and rather than being caught by quality control, some coins were struck and released into circulation. Given the massive volume of coins produced daily, even a few seconds of operation with the wrong die pairing could create a small number of these rare varieties, and once in circulation, these coins were indistinguishable to the untrained eye from ordinary pennies, leading most to be spent, lost, or damaged over time, which compounds their rarity today. Now let's go deeper into why collectors will pay millions for such a coin. Rarity is the cornerstone of numismatic value, but rarity alone isn't enough. Desirability and demand play equally large roles. The Lincoln cent series is one of the most collected coin series in the world, with millions of hobbyists ranging from casual finders to professional investors, and varieties like the 1992 D close AM are seen as holy grail pieces because they bridge the gap between common circulation coins and high-end numismatic rarities usually reserved for older gold or silver issues. Furthermore, when a coin exists in both circulated and uncirculated states, condition grading becomes vital. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. An uncirculated 1992 D close AM in near-perfect condition with blazing luster, sharp strike, and no post-mint damage can command astronomical prices because there may be only one or two such examples in the world, and in auction settings, when two or more wealthy collectors set their sights on acquiring the same unique coin, bidding wars can drive prices into the millions, which is exactly how the $6 million valuation becomes reality. Beyond the AM spacing error, experts scrutinize other potential anomalies on these coins, such as die polishing lines, double dies, repunched mint marks, and subtle hub doubling that might occur during die preparation, each additional anomaly can enhance collector intrigue and add to the uniqueness of an individual specimen. In the realm of possibilities, there's also the question of whether transitional errors might exist. Where other 1992 D cents exhibit partial close AM features due to die wear or incomplete hubbing, and this potential keeps treasure hunters actively searching their change, coin rolls, and old collections in hopes of finding one, there are countless stories of people discovering rare varieties in pocket change, flea market bins, or inherited coin jars, turning a penny into a small fortune, but finding a genuine 1992 D close AM is like striking oil in your backyard, because while some varieties have hundreds or thousands of examples, the population of confirmed 1992 D close AM cents is so low that many experts believe fewer than 20 exist, and perhaps less than 10 in top grades. When we break down the economics, a $6 million valuation might sound excessive for a penny, but in the world of collectibles, the relationship between rarity, demand, and emotional value often overrides intrinsic worth, much like art auctions where a single canvas can fetch hundreds of millions not for the cost of paint and canvas but for its cultural and historical significance. In the same way, the 1992 D close AM represents a perfect storm of rarity, mystery, and desirability, and because it's part of a series that almost every American has handled, it holds an everyman's appeal that makes owning one a status symbol within the collecting world, in addition to private sales and auction results. Insurance valuations for such coins also reflect their irreplaceable nature, meaning the insured value might match or even exceed auction prices, making them secure assets for ultra-wealthy collectors. And because numismatic markets can fluctuate, with spikes in interest driven by media coverage, the discovery of a new specimen, or the inclusion of one in a high-profile collection, the $6 million price tag is as much about timing as it is about rarity for the average person. The lesson here is that knowledge is power in coin collecting, because errors like the 1992 D close AM often go unnoticed by the general public, yet they represent life-changing opportunities for those who know what to look for. And with millions of 1992 D cents still out there in change drawers, coin rolls, and old bank boxes, the dream of finding one remains alive. Though the odds are tiny, still, it's that possibility that fuels the excitement of the hobby, making each coin you check under a magnifying glass a potential jackpot. The allure of mint errors also ties into the broader human fascination with mistakes that escape quality control, whether in stamps, banknotes, or coins, because they stand as tangible reminders that even in highly controlled industrial processes, human error or mechanical mishap can create something of extraordinary value. And in the story of the 1992 D1 cent, it's the combination of a proof-style reverse, an ordinary obverse, a high level of rarity, and a connection to a beloved coin series that makes this 1-cent piece a multi-million-dollar marvel. And as we close our journey through its history, errors, and significance, remember that treasures aren't always gold or diamonds. Sometimes they're hiding in plain sight, small, coppery, and easily overlooked until someone with knowledge and curiosity takes a closer look. And that's the magic of the 1992 D close AM, a tiny coin with a gigantic story and an even bigger price tag, embodying the thrill of discovery and the timeless appeal of collecting. And for anyone out there with a jar of old change or a passion for the details, this story is proof that the next $1 million find might just be sitting quietly in your pocket right now, waiting for its moment to shine. Next! Today we are diving deep into the astonishing story of the 2008 Lincoln 1-cent coin that has been valued at an incredible $2.3 million, not because it's made of precious metals or encrusted with jewels, but because of the rare errors and minting mistakes that have transformed it from a piece of everyday change into one of the most sought-after collectibles in modern numismatic history. And as we unpack this fascinating case, we will explore the history behind the Lincoln cent, the minting processes in place at the United States Mint in 2008, the specific errors that make this coin unique, the possible scenarios of how these errors occurred, why rarity and condition are the twin pillars of its astronomical value, how collectors identify and verify such coins, and the wider implications for anyone who might unknowingly have one in their possession. Because the story of the 2008 1 cent is not just about metal and design, it's about chance, human oversight, the passion of collectors, and the enduring thrill of treasure hunting in everyday life. So let's begin with a little background. The Lincoln cent has been a cornerstone of U.S. coinage since 1909, when it was introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, and over the decades it has seen a variety of design changes. The most significant for our story being the Lincoln Memorial reverse, introduced in 1959, which continued until 2008, the year in question here, making 2008 the final full year of production before the major 2009 redesign that celebrated Lincoln's bicentennial. And whenever the mint transitions from one design to another, there are often small-scale production experiments, die changes, and preparation for upcoming issues, and it is during such transitional periods that the likelihood of rare and costly errors increases. Now the 2008 1 cent's legendary $2.3 million valuation comes from a combination of extreme rarity and an unusual error involving its design details. Specifically, examples have been documented where coins intended to have the standard Lincoln Memorial reverse instead display anomalies in spacing, alignment, or even mismatched dies meant for other denominations or proof coins. One of the most famous possible error types tied to 2008 cents is the use of a reverse die prepared for the 2009 design, featuring early stages of the upcoming changes, paired accidentally with the obverse of 2008. Such a mix-up could occur when dies from different batches or mints were moved or stored incorrectly. Another possibility includes double dies, where during the hubbing process the design is impressed onto the die twice in slightly different positions, creating a visible doubling on the lettering, date, or design elements, making the coin stand out immediately to an experienced collector. Then there are off-center strikes where the blank planchette was not seated properly in the press, leading to a misaligned image, some of which are so dramatic they can be worth thousands on their own even without any other rare features. And in the 2008 context, these errors take on added significance because the year marked the end of an era for the Lincoln Memorial reverse, making any anomaly an instant conversation piece for collectors. Another potential error that can make the 2008 penny extraordinary is a transitional planchette error, where the coin was struck on a blank meant for another denomination or for another year's composition. Since modern pennies are copper-plated zinc, striking one on an older 95% copper planchette would produce a different weight and appearance, easily detectable to experts and instantly boosting its rarity. All these possibilities, the wrong reverse die, double dies, off-center strikes, transitional planchets, are not mutually exclusive, and in some cases a single coin might have more than one error, multiplying its desirability and market value dramatically. So how does a tiny 1 cent coin reach a price tag of $2.3 million? The answer lies in the numismatic market's three golden factors: rarity, demand, and condition. The first, rarity, is straightforward. There may be only a handful of genuine examples of the 2008 era penny in existence, and in some era types, the known population is in the single digits. Second, demand. Because the Lincoln cent series is the most collected coin series in the United States, with millions of enthusiasts ranging from casual hobbyists to elite collectors, any rare variety instantly attracts intense interest. And third, condition. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, and a 2008 era penny in perfect or near-perfect mint state condition, with sharp details, full original luster, and no post-mint damage, is exponentially more valuable than one that has been in circulation. And when such a coin appears at auction, bidding wars between high-net-worth collectors can drive prices into the millions, which is precisely how we arrive at that $2.3 million figure. Now, to understand how these coins escape the mint and enter circulation, it's important to remember that while the United States Mint has rigorous quality control, it also produces billions of coins each year, and with such a massive output, the occasional mistake is inevitable. In some cases, an error coin may be caught during inspection and destroyed, but others may slip through unnoticed, especially if the error is subtle and not immediately visible. Without magnification, once in circulation, the coin is at the mercy of chance. If it's found by someone who doesn't know about the error, it will likely be spent and lost forever to the numismatic world, which is why each known example is so precious. For collectors, authentication is critical, because the market for rare coins is also rife with counterfeits. Experts will examine the coin under magnification, compare it to known die markers, weigh it precisely, and sometimes even perform metallurgical analysis to confirm it was struck at the mint with genuine materials. Once authenticated, the coin is often sent to a grading service like PCGS or NGC, where it is encapsulated in a tamper-proof holder with its grade and variety clearly labeled. This not only protects the coin but also provides assurance to buyers and sellers, adding to its marketability. The discovery stories behind these coins are often just as thrilling as their market values. Some have been found in pocket change, others in bank-wrapped rolls purchased for face value, and still others have been sitting unnoticed for years in family coin jars until a sharp-eyed collector spotted something unusual. The dream of finding one fuels a whole subculture of coin roll hunters who spend hours searching through thousands of pennies, hoping to spot that telltale anomaly that could change their lives. And the 2008 era penny has become one of the most mythical targets in this pursuit. In the bigger picture, coins like the 2008 $2.3 million penny are more than just rare objects. They are tangible pieces of history that connect us to specific moments in time, in this case the end of the Lincoln Memorial era and the approach of a new chapter in US coinage. They are also a testament to the enduring fascination humans have with mistakes, because in a world that often prizes perfection, these errors remind us that imperfection can be far more valuable, and that chance can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. So for anyone listening, the key takeaway is this: always check your change, especially pennies from transitional years like 2008, because while the odds are tiny, the reward for finding one of these errors could be life-changing. Imagine pulling a coin from your pocket, noticing something odd about the design or spacing of the letters, sending it off for authentication, and discovering that it's worth more than a luxury home. That's the magic and allure of coin collecting. And it's why the story of the 2008 1 cent with its $2.3 million price tag continues to inspire treasure hunters, collectors, and dreamers alike, a story where history, rarity, and a dash of luck converge in the palm of your hand. Today we are focusing on one of the most intriguing and talked about coins among enthusiasts, a humble 1985 1 cent coin that, due to an incredible combination of minting errors, production quirks, and numismatic rarity, has reached a mind-boggling value of around $3 million, a sum so staggering for a small copper-plated coin that it seems almost unbelievable until you understand the unique chain of events, historical context, and meticulous collector demand that make it possible. So let's journey back to 1985, a year when the United States Mint was producing Lincoln cents with the newer copper-plated zinc composition introduced in 1982 to replace the nearly pure copper cents of the past, a change driven by rising copper prices but one that also brought its own set of challenges, including increased susceptibility to certain types of mint errors due to the layered structure of zinc core and copper plating. And in this particular year, while billions of coins rolled off the presses from mints in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, a few extraordinary mistakes happened that would ultimately elevate some examples into the rarefied air of high-value collectibles. Now for most people a 1985 penny is just a piece of pocket change worth exactly 1 cent, but imagine spotting one with dramatic doubling in the lettering on the obverse, or a striking off-center misalignment where part of Lincoln's profile is missing and blank planchette space fills the rest, or a coin where the copper plating has blistered and peeled in strange patterns revealing silvery zinc beneath, or perhaps even more rare a transitional error where a coin was struck on a leftover copper planchette from before 1982, making its composition entirely different from standard issues and instantly desirable to collectors who crave anomalies that shouldn't exist. And it's important to note that such high valuations come from the intersection of extreme rarity, impeccable condition, and the collector's willingness to pay astronomical sums for a unique piece, for example a 1985 cent in pristine mint state with a bold double-die obverse showing clear extra thickness and separation lines in the date and the word liberty could already command thousands. But when such an error combines with additional features like off-metal striking or die breaks in unusual positions, the desirability skyrockets, especially if there's provenance proving its authenticity. Furthermore, in some rare instances coins are discovered struck on planchets meant for foreign denominations because the US Mint occasionally produced coinage for other countries, so a 1985 cent struck on a planchette of different weight, size, or composition could turn into a once-in-a-lifetime find. And in the high-stakes world of elite collectors, provenance, rarity, and condition all fuel a bidding war that can drive a coin to millions. And while it might sound improbable, remember that in coin collecting history, we've seen other cents, nickels, quarters, and dollars fetch similar or even higher sums when a perfect storm of conditions aligns. The thrill for collectors is knowing that these errors are not manufactured intentionally but are genuine quirks of the minting process, making them relics of both human oversight and mechanical unpredictability. And the 1985 $3 million cent embodies that blend of accident and art. Now let's break down the possible error types that could contribute to Such an astounding value, starting with double dies which occur when the coin die itself carries a misaligned impression from multiple hubbings, creating clear doubling in parts of the design, a feature sought after by those who love microscopic details and historical quirks. Next are off-center strikes which happen when the blank planchet isn't properly seated in the press, producing coins with missing portions of the design. Sometimes dramatically so, and while minor off-centers aren't worth much, those exceeding 50% misalignment with a full date visible can be extremely valuable. Then there are die cracks and cuds, raised irregular lines or blobs caused by fractures or missing chunks in the die, turning each affected coin into a unique piece, followed by broad strikes where the retaining collar fails and the coin flattens out wider than normal, clipped planchets where part of the metal blank is missing from the outset, and wrong planchet errors where the coin is struck on a blank meant for a different denomination or foreign coin, all of which can multiply interest from collectors when found in combination or in high grade. One particularly fascinating possibility is the discovery of a 1985 cent struck in bronze rather than copper-plated zinc, as leftover bronze planchets were still occasionally used up accidentally in the early 1980s. And the rarity of such a transitional piece would be immense. Another contributing factor to extreme valuation is the condition grading by professional services such as PCGS or NGC, where coins rated MS68 or MS69 with stunning luster, sharp strike, and virtually no marks are exponentially rarer than lower grades, and when such pristine condition combines with dramatic and well-documented errors, you have a numismatic jackpot. And the market for such coins is fueled not only by traditional collectors but also by investors seeking tangible assets with proven historical demand, which means that even a small coppery disc can become a multi-million-dollar commodity when it's one of a kind. Over the years, reports of unique 1985 era cents have surfaced from old bank rolls, change jars, and estate collections, often discovered by sharp-eyed individuals who recognize something unusual in the coin's appearance, perhaps an abnormally thick rim, unusual coloration, or details that just seemed off, leading them to research and eventually authenticate their find. And while most 1985 cents remain common, the possibility that any given one could be an undiscovered rarity keeps treasure hunters hopeful, because the allure is as much about the chase as the prize itself, and it's worth noting that the $3 million figure isn't just about one error type but the hypothetical convergence of multiple factors: extreme rarity, unique and eye-catching error, perfect mint state preservation, strong provenance, and high-profile auction competition. So in essence, the 1985 $3 million cent is a testament to how the smallest imperfections in manufacturing can lead to perfection in collectability, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, the mundane into the magnificent, and inspiring countless people to check their change just in case they might be holding history in the palm of their hand. So as you imagine that tiny copper coin glinting under the light, think about the incredible journey it's taken from a busy mint floor in 1985 through decades of circulation or careful preservation, surviving countless chances to be lost or damaged, until it finally emerges into the spotlight as a rare gem commanding millions. And in that journey lies the magic of numismatics, a hobby that turns history into something you can hold, study, and yes, sometimes even sell for life-changing amounts. And that's why the story of the 1985 1-cent coin isn't just about metal and minting but about human curiosity, the value of rarity, and the enduring mystery of what treasures might still be hiding in plain sight.